So I want to begin by saying, if you want to continue hating people, you're more than welcome to continue doing that. You know what I mean? If you want to continue dwelling and complaining, you're more than welcome to keep doing that. You know what I mean? But this podcast is for people who say I hate people. People are annoying. People are this. People are that. You know, the people that you're complaining about, they probably do have messed up qualities. There's probably a lot of messed up stuff about them. A good incentivizer to not take people's actions personally is because if they are messed up, they were messed up when you met them. You know what I mean? They might have been that way for years. And there's probably things that made them that way. There's so many people that are living a million miles beneath their potential. You know, you have no idea who these people would look like if they were half the man that they could have been, if they were half the woman that they could have been, if they embrace their potential, if they embrace, what's up, Joanne? What's up, Chris? So the people that annoy you, the people that bother you, here's first of all, let me go through a list of things that typically bothers everybody. Controlling people, know-it-alls, people that always tell you they swear that they're right. They always want to argue with you. My bad. About every single thing. They make everything an issue, right? Maybe they're always lecturing you. Maybe they're impulsive. They're angry. You know what I'm saying? These are qualities that people have that might get on your nerves, right? And also, I want to talk to those people briefly. If people are always kicking you out of their life, you know what I mean? At what point is it something wrong with you, or is it always other people? Sometimes we meet 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, and we just assume that they must be twisted, and it's never us. You know what I mean? My boy John, I hope he hears this podcast on a replay or maybe even live. I have no idea what he's doing, but he gave me a quote that was like amazing. He said, "If you run into an asshole, then well, you just met an asshole. But if everyone's an asshole, then maybe that asshole is really you and not other people." And I was just like, yo, that's so true. You know what I'm saying? So the best way to deal, this is going to sound crazy. The best way to deal with annoying people is that personality type that you hate. You got to meet more of those people. You got to meet more, like literally, like my prayer, like when I talk to God, who's the most annoying fucking people in this world? Send those people my direction. I need to learn how to deal with those type of people. Why? Because learning how to deal with them is the only way to overcome them. Or otherwise I'm going to huddle in a corner and just avoid certain types of people. And then those people are always going to have the power to overcome me. Like when you hate a person, it's not them that you hate. It's their personality type. The reason it's not personal, you think it's personal between you and that person. Think of one person you dislike right now and think about meeting 100 other people who are exactly like that one person. Don't you think you would dislike 100 other people if they were exactly if they reminded you exactly of the people that you don't like? They had the same qualities, the same impulsive nature, the same behavior, the same, maybe they curse a lot, maybe they behave disgustingly on social media in a way that triggers you. So you see how it's not the person per se, it's the things that they do. But you got to understand, like I said, people are living beneath their potential. You have no idea what these people would look like if they cared about their potential, if they didn't embrace mediocrity. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, like there's an article that I read a long time ago. It was talk about how people, like some of the smartest people only use 10% of their brain or something, but on average people use between 6 to 9 or something, or 6 to 7. You know what I mean? But it's never more than 10% of their brain. But how many people, I always wonder, like, yo, how many people are capable of making $1 million, but they think 75,000 a year is a lot, so they stay there? How many people are capable of startup companies, big businesses, or capable of, maybe they're very mean and nasty people right now, but they're capable of being the most pleasant, most polite person ever. Like, instead of being that person where when they enter the room, they're like, oh, it's this fucking jerk off. Like, yo, like you know what I mean? Like, who invited this dude here, man? No one likes this person. Instead of them bringing that energy to a room, imagine them being the type of people where you're actually excited that they just entered the room. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone brings joy to a room, either by entering it or by leaving it. You know what I mean? And the people that bring joy to a room by leaving the room and you're excited that they left, like, thank God that guy left. No one wants him here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what's wrong with them? For real, for real. They're being overcome by life. They're dwelling, they're complaining. Like they probably have nothing to be happy about, or they feel like they have nothing to be happy about. The thing about people that complain, although there's 1,000 things that they could have gratitude for, when they decide to focus, give me a second. When they decide to put all their focus on things that annoy them, they're always going to be annoyed. You know what I mean? And if they're always annoyed, they're always going to dwell. If they're always dwelling, they're always going to complain. If they're always complaining, they're always going to be bitter. So you see how the world is shaping their character? And if they're always bitter, you could imagine how that would be tough to be around constantly. Because maybe you're a positive type person. Maybe you're not in the mood for all that negative shit all the time. But they don't know how to not be negative. You know why they don't know how to not be negative? Because they don't know how to not overcome. I mean, they don't know how to overcome the world because they're being overcome by the world. They're taking people personally, issues personally. Man, I can't believe people have that dieting plan. I can't believe people do this type of behavior. I can't believe people lie and this and they're so surprised by human behavior. There's nothing that a fucking person could do that surprises me. Not people lying, not people killing. There's nothing on the news that could surprise me because I know if it's within the realm of possibility, there's a chance that it could be happening somewhere in the world. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of atrocious shit that you believe shouldn't be happening. There's things that are probably unimaginable. And someone's imagining that thing, whatever you think is unimaginable, someone's fantasizing that thought every day. And it's completely normal to them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? And the thing about having goals, why having goals is so important is because when you don't have huge goals, when you don't take your goals personally, you take people personally. You take their attitudes personally. If someone mistreats me right now, that shit is not personal, even though they're directing that negative energy towards me. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they're getting abused, their parents died, like, they're going through a bad breakup, like something's wrong with them. You know what I mean? And when people are not happy, they're not going to know how to direct positive energy your way. There's no positive energy inside of them. Like, what people give you is a direct reflection of what they feel internally. So externally, that becomes the output of their energy. It's going to be negative because they always feel negative inside of them. You know what I mean? If you take their actions personally, you'll never be able to help these people. And maybe that's not your goal. Maybe that's not what you're optimizing towards. Maybe you don't give a damn about helping anybody. Maybe you just want to make as much money as you can and then fucking die someday and leave this planet. And that's all you care about. People care about different stuff, but one thing I can tell you, man, if you ever do decide to start caring about people intensely, like deeply, like, to be more like when you become more interested in being curious than you are in being critical. Because most people are critical towards, like, we'll ask somebody their life story just to criticize, oh, well, why did you have this reaction? And why did you do that? Man, I remember I talked to people that I'll tell them stuff I did 9 years ago, and they'll stop me while I'm telling my story to tell me, hey, what made you think that was acceptable? Or what made you think this was okay? And then they'll like interrupt me so many times to the point it's like, yo, like, if you don't want to hear the story, like, I could just not continue. They're like, no, I'm just wondering what type of mindset did you have? And they're more interested in criticizing the story and what made certain actions permissible than they are interested in actually hearing what the hell happened to me or what I went through or what, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the reason that's not personal when they do that to me, they're probably doing that to everybody else. They probably do that to everybody else who tries to tell a story. They'll interrupt and be like, yo, but why would you do this to that person? And why did you respond this way? Because I didn't fucking know any better, right? Like, we ask dumb questions that we know the answer to. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are people mean? I don't know, man, because like they probably grew up in a mean household. Maybe their parents are mean to them, and that becomes the energy that they reciprocate towards other people. Like, maybe, why are people evil? Because they've been influenced by evil people. You know what I mean? Why are people kind-hearted? Because they're influenced by kind-hearted people. But at some point, right? Everyone has a mentor. Everybody has someone that you're being shaped and you're being molded by. And hopefully the people that are etching you and sketching you, you actually admire these people and they have something that you want and you want to be like them. But in a lot of cases, we're being molded by people that we don't like. A lot of us, we hate our parents, but yet we act exactly the same way that they do. You would think if you hate somebody, you wouldn't become them. Why would you become something that you hate? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you not want to be more than that? And maybe they do, but they feel like they have no choice. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, personal development is not a choice. Fucking getting stronger is not a choice. So much victim mentality. Like, you gotta ask yourself, your belief system, it either serves you to have that belief system or it goes against you to have it. You know what I'm saying? So if you believe that you were born to be weak and you're always going to be angry and you're always going to have anxiety, here's why that belief system goes against you. Because if there is a chance, and there always is a chance, of you becoming a better individual, you'll never get the chance to become the person that you could have been. Why? Because you have a philosophy that's holding you back. You have an indoctrination that whether it's going to be hard, it's going to be too damn difficult. And people focus on how hard something is. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's hard to change my life. It's hard to change my mindset. It's supposed to be hard. That's how you know it's worth your time doing it. To you men out there, if you sleep with a woman today, what does she mean to you tomorrow if you met her 1 hour ago? What the hell does she mean to you? Like, you just met her an hour ago. You have sex tonight. You're probably going to dump her tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what makes her more valuable? When she doesn't sleep with you the day that you met her. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it takes a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, to the point where, you know what I'm saying? And for the women that make men wait, the reason that's a good strategy is because the men that are going to waste your time, that's how you weed them out. Because like most men, they'll wait, right? 1 month, 2 months, maybe 3 months. And they'll be like, yo, I don't like waiting this long to get what I want. So I'm going to go somewhere else where I could get the results I want quicker from a person. Why are men like that? Because they're alive for themselves. They don't care about benefiting the woman. They just want to extract value out of people and then under deliver with the value they give in return, or just don't give anything in return. You know what I'm saying? This is why people argue about stuff like, you know what I mean? Such as, people, you guys have been in relationships where it seems one-sided. It's all about the other person. They never care about your feelings or trying to like work things out or come to a mutual agreement or understanding. Why? The fall of man. Like, people are alive for themselves. Like, when you read Genesis, like, I could only imagine the relationship that Adam and Eve had before the fall, before sin. I don't think they argued all day. I don't think they had disagreements all day. I think they were considerate. They were compassionate. You know what I mean? And it's crazy how as soon as Adam and Eve, they ate from the tree of forbidden knowledge, God comes back into the garden. He's like, what have you done? And there was zero accountability. Adam said, it was the woman you gave me. And then he looks at the woman like, what have you done? And then she says, oh, well, the serpent, like, he tricked me. So even back then, it was always somebody else's fault why they were a complete mess, why they couldn't be okay. So that's what deception looks like right now in your life. If the reason you're always annoyed is other people, you're deceived, because nobody stands in the way of you having a good day. Not their behavior, not their attitudes, but now you might not believe that because that sounds foreign to you. And you grew up thinking that every fucking thing is somebody else's fault. That's where misery is. Misery is in a land of not having accountability for your emotions, for how you feel, for how you react. You know what I mean? Because you feel like people are making me mad. People are making me get annoyed. No one's making you do shit. You have standards that are being violated. You have a criteria that says when I meet a human being, they need to behave this way, think this way, talk this way, act that way, and this needs to be their preference. And when you start, and it might be on a subconscious level to the point that you don't even realize those are your thoughts. And then when you meet people, every time they violate each and every one of your criterias, you're now positioned to be annoyed, to be angry, to be upset, to have a bad day, and make it everybody else's fault except for you, realizing that you create your expectations. You create your standards that you place on other people. People don't have to be kind. Why do people have to be kind? Why do people have to be considerate, compassionate? Why do people have to be there for you? Here's why they have to be there for you and do all those things. Because when they're not, now you're going to complain. And you're going to complain because it should be this way. You know what I'm saying? Should and shouldn't, destroying lives left and right. Those two words. People are obsessed with what should be happening and what shouldn't be happening. And if you're always getting annoyed by a person, it's because they're always doing things that you believe they shouldn't be doing. They shouldn't be that mean. They shouldn't curse that much. They shouldn't post this on social media. Man, I saw some post that was crazy. Like, somebody I know talked about how they were a victim years ago or they were raped, and someone came to them like, yo, I don't think you should post that on social media. You shouldn't post about your past and what you went through and this. And you know why the person said that to the victim? They said that because it's a reflection of what they wouldn't post, what they wouldn't do on their social media account. So you see how even advice is selfish, like what people wouldn't do for themselves. What people wouldn't do for themselves becomes the things that they advise you not to do for yourself. Because they don't see the point in it. They don't see like why it doesn't make sense to them. You know what I mean? But because I believe that you're under no obligation to make sense to me, I'm not even going to make you explain yourself to me. Like, why do you do this? And how come you do? I just understand there's a mindset that people have that governs their behavior. I know that. Everyone has a mindset that makes their current actions permissible. And that's the reason every human being acts the way they do, because their actions are justifiable in their mind. Like maybe you're a woman right now. You had an argument with a guy. and he got pissed, and then he called you a bitch, and you're like, yo, why did you call me a bitch? You know what I mean? He was like, oh, and then he says, whoa, because you said this, because you did that, because you made me feel this way. And now he feels justified in that behavior of calling you a bitch, because he feels like if you do these things, if you violate me this way, if you say these words, if you speak to me with this tonality, then I'm going to insult you. I'm going to call you this word, right? Because his standard is being violated, and because he already has a preset for how to respond. And that's why his life feels like it's on autopilot. That's why a lot of people, they might be like, yo, I can't even change if I wanted to, because you feel like so impulsive in cursing. You feel so impulsive in being mean to someone that does something. Like, a lot of you, when you drive, you don't like cursing. You don't like getting mad at people that cut you off in the road. Maybe you are trying to learn how to be patient, how to be kind, how to be nicer. But you're like, man, when people do this, I just can't stand it, It's because you focus on how someone shouldn't cut you off. They shouldn't, like, you know what I'm saying? Should and shouldn't. That's why you're getting mad. Should and shouldn't comes from expectation, that a criteria that you set for other people. You know what I mean? You're like, yes, it'd be nice if people didn't cut you off when you're driving, but you could focus on other things, such as, thank God I didn't get in an accident. Thank God they didn't hit my vehicle. Thank God we're both alive, and then move on with your fucking day and go to work and come back home. You know what I'm saying? You could focus on other things, but isn't it crazy that someone's probably going to cut you off while you're driving, and you're going to think about that for the next 2 weeks? You know who the most annoying people are? The people that are going to annoy you when they're not even around, because they've held your mind under captivity, and you're now a slave to that person because you think about them daily, about what they shouldn't be doing, how they shouldn't, whatever it is that they did to you, however it is that they violated you. Now you're obsessed with replaying that memory in your mind constantly. Do you know that the mind can't tell the difference between something you vividly imagine and something you're actually experiencing? And this is why we tend to overhype things that happen. We'd be like, have you ever heard somebody say to you, hey, how come you're always doing that thing to me? Like, maybe you violated somebody in a very specific way, and you're like, whoa, hold up. I'm not always doing this. I'm not always doing that, right? Maybe the thing that they're accusing you of, you only did it to them 1 time, 2 times, maybe 3. You know why they just asked you, why do you always do it? Because even though you did it 3 times, they repeated the offensive act that you did to them 3,000 times in their mind. And now they literally can't tell the difference between it happening 3,000 times and it happening 3 times. Because in their mind, if they repeat it 3,000 times, it feels like it's always happening. And that's why they accuse you as if it always is. Because in their mind, they don't know the difference. You see what I mean? So it's crazy how the mind works. And even though it only happened 3 times, you feel the effects of it happening 3,003 times. You know what I mean? This is the power of the mind. It's the power of reflecting on things that are not your worth your time reflecting on. You know what I mean? Like, what does the past have to do with your future? We all been through shit. Sometimes we'll spaz out on somebody, right? And then we'll be like, oh, I'm sorry for acting that way. It's just that I'm going through stuff. And then you apologize for the behavior, but then that same behavior continues 10 years later, and now you're always spazzing on people and then apologizing because you're going through stuff. And it's like, bro, like, when are you going to learn how to overcome? When are you going to try to believe in a better potential? But here's the thing. If they never believed, if they accept that as being life, if they accept that life is just going to be hard, we're going to have bad days. Some people are going to make me feel this way. Some people when you just accept life as it is, then you don't know any different. It'll just always be that, because that becomes what you accept. You know what I mean? To the man that makes $75,000 a year, but is capable of making $1 million, it doesn't matter what he's capable of if he accepts something less than what he's capable of. This is why when it comes to annoying ass people, God, whoever they are, bring them my direction. I need to meet these people, and I need to see them the way that you do, because if I don't, they're always going to overcome me. And I'd rather spend my time overcoming things and other people. You know what I'm saying? Either that or I'm going to get overcome by them. I'm going to be like, man, like these type of people, like I'm going to form cliques, like with certain people that I prefer over others. And I'm going to go where I'm comfortable and stay away from where I'm not comfortable. Everything you want in life is directly outside of your comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to get on stage and speak. I have social anxiety, being around a lot of people, it makes me feel weird. I know I get on these podcasts and I seem comfortable as hell. Yes, I am. But I don't know if that's going to translate well on stage. But I love that that's a direct barrier to my success. And whether or not I get there, it's completely dependent on me stepping outside of my comfort zone. And whether or not I'm willing to step outside of that comfort zone is going to determine whether or not I have results and whether or not I even fucking want the thing that I'm telling you that I want. It's a challenge to see, do you want it? Or do you just kind of want it? There's a lot of people that they just kind of want shit. They don't really want it. You know what I'm saying? Like some of you network marketers, you're very successful and you make 2,000 a week online, maybe 5,000. Some of you may be capable of probably make 10 grand in a month. You know what I mean? Or more. And I'm so proud of you. You know what I mean? And you probably get people coming to you asking you stupid shit like, is it easy? Doesn't matter if it's easy. What matters is, would it be worth your time if you figured out how to make $10,000 a month? Such a good question. Is it worth your time? You know, when you go where things are easy, then you're in the land of mediocrity and you stay there and you're a mediocre person and then you become that, even though that's not what you were predestined to be, even though you're capable of so much more. You know what I mean? So when it comes to people that bother you, right? First of all, pray to God to meet more of those people. I know that sounds crazy. Don't pray to God for less of those people to exist. Pray to meet those type of people specifically, because it puts you out of your comfort zone and it challenges you constantly. And then be like, all right, God, what are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to show me? Like, you know, I know that the people I'm complaining about, you're not in heaven right now, God, complaining constantly and being bothered by people. Teach me how to see the way that God doesn't have bad days, man. God doesn't get discouraged and wake up and like, yo, man, some days I don't feel like being God. And then he has angels be empathetic towards that type of weakness. That's how I know that you wasn't created to be weak as hell. And just, you know what I mean? Everyone wants sympathy. Everyone wants empathy. You want someone you're so desperate for someone to understand how you feel. Getting people to understand how you feel makes a bunch of cowards rally up in a huddle, and then all of you are just empowering each other to not step outside of your comfort zone, and all of you in that huddle are going to be mediocre as hell forever, and you'll never get the chance to be who you could have been if you didn't chase acceptance, if you didn't chase people to understand you. It's not about people understanding you. You don't need me to sympathize with your past and how hard it was for you growing up. You don't need me to have empathy towards that. You know what I mean? Like, what you need to ask yourself is, because, you know, some of you tell a story that you're not proud to tell. You're not proud of your past, but you hold on to it so much because it's the only form of identity that you have ever known is your story. And you identify with your failures, with your misery, with everything that you don't want to identify with. And even though you want more, you're not allowed to have more because you don't believe better. Because until you believe that there is a chance to have mental fortitude, there is hope in developing my mind, there is a way to find happiness and true peace where it's not circumstantial, like it's not based on circumstances going my way. If you think that happiness is based on things going your way, then every time things don't go your way, you don't have happiness, which means all it takes is for the list of things that you have in your mind that things should be happening this way. It takes for one of those things to get violated before you start drifting off into depression. And before you know it, if enough of those things on your list gets violated, now you're into a deep state of depression because things don't go your way and you think that they have to go your way. Happiness is finding contentment in all things, like when people are treating you good and when people are not treating you good, when you have a lot of money, when you don't have a lot of money, when circumstances are good, when circumstances are not good, you know, when you marry your wife and when she leaves you, when you have kids, and like, regardless of circumstance, like up or down, it doesn't determine you as a person, your emotional state. That's powerful. You know, the only way to get to that place is to say, God, whatever I'm going through, I accept what I'm going through, and teach me what you're trying to teach me. Show me what you're trying to show me. Like, help me to overcome, help me to, you know what I mean? Help me to have the mindset that you have. That's the only way people overcome life, is by having a mindset that transcends beyond what they are currently. And if they don't believe that it's possible to transcend, then they never will. You know what I'm saying? They're just going to stay stationary, you know? So I know that people make unnecessary jokes. I know that people post stupid stuff on social media. I know that people call you fat when they shouldn't. They call you retarded when they shouldn't. But just the fact that you believe those comments should stop, your belief system on how those comments should not exist doesn't eliminate those type of comments. Because if a person feels like making stupid comments, they will make them. Your position is to learn how to not be so emotionally impacted by what somebody else decides to say. Here's what helps me. Something that really helps me is your words mean nothing unless I decide that it means something. All the time, you know what I mean? And we're always doing that. Like, there was a girl I recently spoke to who I told her, yo, I have videos that could help you. It's very positive, very influential, very motivational. She said, I heard all that positive shit before. It's not for me. You know what she's saying? That whatever's in the content of the videos that I wanted to send to her, it has no impact because she decides that it means something. So because she decides it means nothing, it means nothing. excuse me, even if it has the potential to mean something, like, because she's not going to absorb it, she's not going to like care, like, to even, how powerful is that mindset? You could do the same thing with negativity, and you could realize, when I scroll through Facebook and I see things, people posting shit that they shouldn't be posting, just to say to yourself, it only means something because I communicate to myself that it does. So if I communicate to myself it means nothing, when you really start communicating that to yourself, you'll scroll through your feed not looking for shit that pisses you off, and realize that you're not alive for people to post the things that you think are politically correct or appropriate, man. You think people are here to please you and do everything the way you think they should be doing? People are going to do whatever it is they prefer to be doing. It's probably the only expectance that I have. I expect people to act according to their preference, because that's what's going to happen. It doesn't matter if I think somebody shouldn't be mean. If they feel like being mean and rude and arrogant, that's exactly what they're going to do. And if I spend my time dwelling, that's a minute. If I spend a minute dwelling, that's a minute wasted. If I spend 1 hour complaining, that's 1 hour wasted. And I could spend, you know how I could spend that 1 hour? Like, I could go jogging, I could go work out, I could do a podcast, I could try to like bring value to somebody's life, I could figure out how the hell I'm going to make some money, I could figure out how to get closer to God, how to love people. You see what I mean? Like, all these things that are actually worth my time, because life breaks down into two categories. Either what you're doing is a complete waste of your time, or it's a very good use of your time. There's only one or the other. So complaining about someone else's behavior doesn't change them. It doesn't make them want to, you know what I mean? Because now they're going to look at you like, all right, the only reason you're complaining is because I pissed you off. Like, but I don't have to be who you want me to be. Anger, let me tell you something about anger. Anger is proof that something didn't go your way. Expectation has just been violated. It's the only reason for anger. You know what I'm saying? Like, someone's not doing something you think they should be doing. Therefore, you respond in anger and maybe insults and cursing, and you feel justified because you'd be like, well, if you would have been the person I needed you to be, then I wouldn't feel violated. If I didn't feel violated, then I wouldn't have violated you. You see how you're positioned for these emotions just by feeling a certain way, like, your criteria being violated. Like, if you don't have a criteria on an expectance on other people, you'll be good. I promise you'll always be mentally okay. You know what I'm saying? Because, Imagine if you weigh 350 pounds right now, right? You're in Walmart and everyone's like looking at you and staring and laughing. And instead of feeling bad and embarrassed, you're like, man, God, like, man, help these people, man. Like, they really need you to see the world the way that I see the world. Man, these people are laughing at me. They should want to like help me. They should they should be loving, but not being consumed by it, not being consumed by what you think they should be, but just being like, man, if only they knew better. If only they knew how their life would be changed if they had mental fortitude, if they had, you know what I mean? Like, and imagine if you look at people that make fun of your weight and you're like, man, if you were even half the man that you could have been, you wouldn't be insulting me right now. If you were half the woman you could have been, you'd be different. You wouldn't be menacing, vicious, evil, insulting. Like, no, I don't think no rude person, arrogant person, like messed up person was created to be that. I think they chose to become that through the fall of man. You know what I mean? Because life is free will, man. It's choice time. Like, either you do or you don't. Either you overcome other people or they overcome you. Either you get what you want out of life in terms of your goals and the things that you want to accomplish, or you don't. You know what I mean? But the only thing that differentiates a person between a very fulfilled person that accomplishes all of their goals and a person that doesn't accomplish even 10% of them is one man believes that he can. The other one has a bunch of excuses as to why he can't. You know what I mean? So the people that annoy you, you have a bunch of excuses as to why you think it's justifiable to now be in a bad mood. It doesn't serve you to view them as being annoying. Even though annoying is exactly what they're being, probably, as soon as you view them that way, your day is now declining and you're having a bad day. And now you're going to blame it on other people because you're focusing on qualities that they have that you don't like. And I'm sure these people probably have some good qualities. And maybe you would argue, well, some people are just not lovely at all. There's nothing likable about them. Maybe that's the truth, right? But the thing is, they're not living according to their potential. You know what I mean? You're judging them according to face value and what they are currently. You have no idea what their life could look like if they actually submitted to God fully, if they submitted to being who they could be, if they cared about their potential. Right now, they don't care about their potential. That's why they live a life less than. When you really know that, you don't get offended by people that act a certain way. You know what I mean? And when you're not alive for yourself, that's when there's inner peace. When you're not alive for circumstances to be ideal, for people to say the right things and do the right things. Because if you need people to say the right things, then you're only as okay as people are saying the right things. If you need people to treat you good, then you're only as good as people are treating you. If you need people to support you mentally, then you're only as stable as other people are supporting you mentally. And some people won't be in a mental place to support you mentally because they themselves are being overcome by life. And that's why they don't show up to your pity party, because they're too busy pitying themselves and going through it themselves. That's why they don't even feel like they have the energy to be there for you. And we take someone's absence so personally. Like, I thought you were my friend. I thought it was going to be this. I thought it was going to be that. You know what I mean? Like, we complain about loyalty and people that lie and people that do this. If you lied to me, whatever, like, I'm not alive for you to tell me the truth all the time. I'm not alive for your loyalty. I'm not alive for you to treat me well. I'm not alive but if I am alive for those things, life is going to be hell, because then I'm going to get mad because I haven't been served. Because when you live for yourself, it's all about getting served by other people. And it's not about trying to be there for other people. You know what I mean? Like, we always care about what we could get from a person. This is why everyone's discouraged from loving. No one wants to love anymore. You know why? Because they're always getting their ass kicked emotionally by other people, and they feel like love is pain. They equate love with the word pain, and they be like, well, damn, the hell with that shit. I don't want to feel pain all the time, so I'll just completely avoid loving people, because you think that love is pain, and it's just those two words are synonymous. And when they become synonymous in your mind, even though it's not, it becomes your belief system. It becomes true. Your truth becomes true to you, even though it's based on a lie. You know what I mean? And you embrace it as truth. And then you live a lie that you think this is only true to you in your head, but it's not actually true. You know what I'm saying? Like, you meet two messed up people, maybe 4 or 5, and you come to the conclusion everybody on earth is like that. You know, women get cheated on by one guy, 2, maybe 5, 6. And they come to the conclusion every guy's like that. You know what I mean? They haven't met every guy, but to them it doesn't matter, because it's easier to make assumptions. That's why people are assuming whatever's easier. That's what human beings are doing. You know why it's easier to judge? You know what I mean? Like, than to get to know a person. It takes work to get to know a person, right? It's easier to judge. That's why people will judge. It's easier to stereotype. That's why people do it. It's easier to just come to a quick conclusion about a person. You know why people talk about you behind your back? Because it's easier than confronting you. You see how, like, in all these scenarios, whatever's easier, that becomes the behavior people engage in, because that's what they prefer to be doing, because people like easy. That's why for you successful marketers who are making $10,000 a month, you always have people asking you, is it easy? And if it's not easy, they don't want to do it. And if you tell them it's hard, nah, this shit is hard, man, you're going to scare those people away. And as soon as people ask you, is it easy? You know exactly that they're going to fail. You know exactly the type of people that's going to fail, because they care about easy. They don't care about, is it worth my time? You know, they just want to know, is it simple? You know what I'm saying? Because if it's a 25-step process, then I'm checked out. I'm good on that. I want a 1 to 2 step process. You know what I'm saying? God forbid you tell somebody something is difficult. They don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Is it easy to work out? No. But it's worth your time to build muscle. It's worth your time to run. Is it easy to, like, not eat chocolate cake and pie all the time? No, well, not when you let your temptations control your life. You know what I mean? Because what's the alternative? You got to ask yourself, what's the alternative? Like, yeah, it might not be easy to, like, not have cake after every meal. Maybe that's not easy for you. But your alternative is being fat as hell. Like, that's your alternative. You know, and that's going to be your reality if you don't, like, embrace the things that you want instead of focusing on how easy it is. So getting back to people that annoy you, they annoy you because you focus on qualities they have that you believe they don't have the right to have. You don't respect their free will. You think that every human being should be a cookie cutter, like, you know, like they should be what you think that they should be. And every human being that you meet that's not what you think a human being should be, now you're upset, and now you're pissed, and now this world sucks, and now you can't wait to die and get out of this world because it's so sinister, it's so cruel. You know what I mean? And you're going to complain and dwell about how everything is not going your way. But you got to remind yourself, these people are not alive to be who you think they should be. They're alive to fulfill their purpose, and they might not even know what their purpose is. You know, nobody is alive to answer your text messages as quickly as you think they should, or answer your phone calls. Nobody owes you their time. I don't care how long you've been friends with somebody. Just because you're known with somebody for 20 years doesn't mean that they have to answer your phone calls. Doesn't mean when you're moving to a new city that they have to be there to help you move. Doesn't mean that they have to be supportive of your dream just because they're your family members. Like, man, I expected more from you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's within the realm of possibility of a person going the other direction, there's always a chance they'll go that other direction. And when I say the other direction, I mean they'll go in a direction that you think they shouldn't be going in. You know what I mean? Like, do men have to be there for their kids? If they had to be there, like if it was if it was real for real, something that had to be doing, that like it would happen all the time. There would be no man that's not there for his kid. There would be no child support. There would be no stepfathers. Because every man would be, you know what I'm saying? Because it's something that has to happen. Here's something that has to happen. You have to die eventually. You know what I mean? And you have to see God eventually. I can't think of too many other things besides those two things that absolutely has to happen, because when death comes, that's it. Like, you know, there's no saying, yo, give me 10 more years. Like, nah, man, your day's today. Like, you know, like there's no getting around that. When it comes to being a good father to your kids, there is a way to get around that. You could just not raise your kids. That's why there's so many people doing that, because it's within the realm of possibility. You know what I mean? Like, if there's two doors that you could potentially walk through, right? Being righteous, being unrighteous. People take the unrighteous route a lot of the times. You know what I mean? Free will. Free will gives the people the power, you know, to walk away from God if they so choose to do so. And it's within the realm of possibility of doing that. And you might be like, but that's retarded. How come people don't praise God? How come people don't go to church? How come people don't? Because life is a numbers game. A percentage of people go to church. A percentage of people don't. A percentage of people lie. A percentage of people don't. A percentage of people you meet are going to be who you think they're going to live up to what you think a human being should be. A percentage of people don't give a damn about your expectations of what you think another man should be. And they don't care that you feel violated by them all the time. And they don't care about your feelings. And they don't care how you don't like their behavior. You think people care, man? Like, you know, everyone's desperately trying to get, why are you so desperately trying to get people to care about your emotions? You know what I mean? I need you to care about the state of your mental health to the point where you need no compassion from another man, from another woman. Because if you always need these things, then you're always going to be positioned for depression, for anxiety, for like feeling bad all the time. And then you're going to make it other people's fault. These other people you're blaming for your emotions, they don't create your expectations. You create them. You have something to do with your anger by the moment you created an expectation, you're setting yourself up to be violated by things not going according to your plan. You know what I mean? People don't give a fuck about your plan and how you think things should be. And it sounds like I'm being mean right now, but until you embrace that, until you accept things that are, you believe like should be unacceptable, like, oh, it should be unacceptable for a man to act this way or behave this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm not excited that people are messed up. I'm not excited that they lie. I'm not trying to get you to like approve of their actions. I'm not making them right and I'm not making them wrong. What I'm saying is, if you don't learn how to be adaptable, then other people are going to run you into the grave and you will probably die a lot quicker than you should have, because you're letting people control your blood pressure, your mentality, your emotion, your mental health. You know what I'm saying? We put our mental health at the mercy of doctors fucking diagnosing us and giving us pills all the time. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people that they don't need half the pills that they're taking. But you know why so many people are on pills? It's fucking easier to take pills than it is to learn how to manage your emotions. It's easier to go to a doctor and have him tell you what's wrong with you than it is to like try to read some books, some self-help books, or like, you know, try to go and be around positive people or find something to have gratitude about, or, you know what I'm saying? It's easier to dwell and complain than it is to fix your problems. That's why more people dwell and complain. Whatever the fuck is easier, that's what people navigate towards. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like your doctor might have no idea about your life. Like they might, you know what I'm saying? They hear you talk for 2 minutes and they come to the conclusion, here's the medication you need to alleviate your problems. That fucking pill is not going to help you. You know what's going to help you? When you have mental fortitude. When anything that happens, it's not about what happens anymore. It's about, yo, I was created to fulfill a mission. I have a purpose and I need to accomplish that shit before I die. When that becomes the one thing that you focus on, you know what I mean? Like, life becomes really good because you don't focus on people's attitude anymore, how annoying they are, how stupid they are. You probably be like, why, how can people be so stupid? Because stupid people exist. That's why they could be so stupid. Man, how can people be so sinister? Because sinister people, because it's within their free will to do that. If they feel like being sinister, they'll do it. People are the way they are for the most part because they're doing what they prefer to be doing. You know what I mean? They just prefer to be for whatever reason. And the more you try to understand other people's reasoning, the more you're going to give yourself a headache trying to understand things that are just not understand. Here's what you need to understand. What the fuck are you supposed to do before you die? Accomplish that shit. Focus all your energy on that thing. What are you supposed to become? Who's the woman you're supposed to become? Who's the man you're supposed to become? And work towards accomplishing that. Otherwise, you'll get on social media and dwell about how your mother doesn't love you and your dad wasn't there and you were a victim and you got bullied and all this shit that when you tell your story, people don't care that you had problems. Here's why people don't care about your shit, because they have shit that they're dealing with. And when they're being overcome by the world, it's hard for them to sit there and have empathy towards you, right? Because they're going through shit. You know what I mean? Once you embrace that nobody cares about your problems, an amazing thing happens. You start becoming the person that cares enough about your problems to try to fucking figure out how you're going to get yourself out of the hole that you're in. You know what I mean? When you start believing that nobody's coming to your rescue, amazing things happen. You become your own hero. You know what I mean? Like when you stop believing that your dad owes you something just because your dad has $100,000 in his bank account doesn't mean that he needs to fund your rap career. Doesn't mean that he needs to give you money for your restaurant or your startup business. You know what I mean? So many people that think their parents owe them something. Like, you know, your parents, they played a part in creating you. They already gave you life. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have a dream, go chase that shit. You don't need people to emotionally support you. Because if you do, then you're not going to be doing good on the days where they don't feel like doing that for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only person that you need to believe in you is you. That's it. You have the support system you need within yourself. And if that's not enough, then you'll never get enough. Whatever you're trying to extract from other people, whatever type of emotional support, it'll never be enough because you only see things for how faulty they are. You're a professional fault finder. That's why you find fault in every situation. That's why you complain. That's why you dwell. That's why nothing is ever enough, because you're always looking at things for how insufficient they are, for how incomplete they are. And you can never find fulfillment in trying to look at things for how messed up they are and judging things according to your standard of how you think they should be, as if this world gives a damn about your standard. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't like your life, you could change it. If you don't like your mentality, you could change it. You know what I mean? If you don't like your circumstance, and this is the part where people are like, yeah, but you don't know my story. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know how I've been bullied. I don't know what you've been through. I don't give a damn as well, because we all been through shit. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you're trying to get me to empathize with your story and your 6 years of how it's been, you don't even like your last 6 years. Why are you so obsessed with telling that story? Recreate your fucking story. Write a new script. Write a story that you're proud to tell to other people, because you're trying to get people to relate to shit that you're not proud to have to admit that you actually went through. You're not proud to tell people you've been bullied, that you've been raped, that your dad wasn't there, that your mom wasn't there, that your dad told you that you're a waste of life, and that your mom told you should have been aborted. Like, you know, that's not an exciting story to tell. But here's the problem. You think that these stories that are part of your life, I understand they happen to you. You think that that's you, you know, and you think that you're a compilation of the things that has happened to you. No, you're a compilation of bad things have happened to you, but you're a walking compilation of the things that you accept. Because even though you are a victim to like bad things that happen, it's your choice if you stay a fucking victim for 75 more years until you die. That's your choice, because you don't have to sit there and dwell and complain about things. All right, things didn't go your way. Were you going to complain every day of your life? Like, is there not things that you could have gratitude towards if you thought about it hard enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you be happy that you have 2 arms and 2 legs? Like, people don't even have that. Can you be happy that you have sight, that you could see, that you could hear? No, you can't be empathetic about that, because when you're selfish, it's all about you, and it's all about things going your way. And then, you know, even though there's things you could have gratitude for, you can't even hear these things because you're too busy complaining how your boyfriend left you, and how your girl should have loved you, and how your best friend should have never backstabbed you. They did what they did. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you waste the next 10 years of your life being bitter, that's completely your privilege, your choice. You know what I mean? I would never advise that, but it's definitely within the realm of possibility, you know, and there's 2 doors you could walk through. One door is the person you could have been. It's never too late to become the person that you could have been. And door number 2, fucking dwelling and complaining and being a victim your whole life. And then nothing gets accomplished except you complaining about how the world should be, how you envision it, and getting mad that it's not, that the world doesn't give a damn about your vision of what you think should be. Move on with your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, focus on accomplishing something. Like, You know, you probably want to be a dancer. You probably want to be, you know, a blogger, or you want to do radio, TV. Focus on that shit. You know what I mean? Focusing on accomplishing that and being the best version of yourself so you could inspire other people that want to do the things that you're doing. They want to do radio, they want to do TV, they want to be an entertainer, a rapper, whatever it is that you're passionate about. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't become the person you could have been, you're robbing people of that moment where they come to you and they look you square in the eye and they say, because you persevered and because you became who you could have been and you are who you could be, now you've given me permission to walk outside of my comfort zone and become who I could have been. There's people that you could be inspiring that you're not, because you're being overcome by everything that's pissing you off, because you focus on things that shouldn't be happening instead of focusing on your fucking purpose that you're supposed to fulfill before you die. That means so much more than how your mother neglected you. I know it hurts that people neglect you. People don't care that they're hurting you. You know why they're hurt? They're hurting themselves. And that's why they can't have empathy towards you, because they're being shaped and etched by the world. If these people you complain about were half the people that they could have been, if they cared about God, if they cared about their potential, they wouldn't even be the people you complain about anymore. They'd be something unrecognizable. They would embrace their potential. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't become that one thing that you complain about constantly. People don't know who the fuck they are. That's why they live a life less than, because they don't know any better. Or even bigger than that, they don't believe better. Most people. Lack of faith, lack of belief is what keeps a man from moving forward in his destiny, because he doesn't believe. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like, to the person that believes $17 per hour is a lot of money, you know why? If someone says, yo, bro, let me teach you how to make $100 an hour. Yo, they think that they would be super blessed if they got $17 an hour. You know, they think anything over $35 per hour, it must be a scam, and they have to do some extensive research to make sure it's a legitimate company, you know, and then the thoughts of self-doubt start going into their mind. Man, I'd be happy. I'm making $9 an hour. I'd be excited to make 17, you know, like 35, 40, that'd be cool. $100 an hour. This is why people look at you like your business opportunity is a scam, because they think fucking 17 is a lot of money. They think they would fall over dead if they made 37 an hour. And this is why they think $100 an hour must be a scam. You know what I mean? Everything is impossible until somebody's doing it. You know what I mean? Everyone wants to say that things are not possible, right? And then people are, yo, I just watched the video. Do you know what a ultra runner is? An ultra runner is a person that's able to run 100 miles in 24 hours or less. Can you imagine doing 100 miles in less than 24 hours jogging? That's crazy. You know what I mean? The guy who was telling the story of how he was an ultra runner, his best moment, he did 205 miles in 39 hours. Can you imagine running 205 miles in 39 hours? That shit is crazy. You know, a lot of you can't even imagine 10 miles in 39 hours. This motherfucker did 205. You know what I mean? And he's probably capable of, that's the craziest part. He's probably capable of more than 205 miles in 39 hours if he keeps training and working out and practicing. You know what I mean? So this is just, I tell that story to tell you that, man, you know, people don't know what they're capable of, you know? So in comparison to the miles that he ran, right? Like maybe you meet a sinister, I want to compare something to you, right? As a metaphor. You meet someone who's sinister, who's mean, who's rude, who's arrogant, who's prideful, who's, you know what I mean? They don't know that they're capable of, what's up, Ariana? They don't know that they're capable of being kind, compassionate people. On top of that, they don't know the benefits of being kind. They don't know they don't think that it serves them. Maybe they tried this kindness stuff and they feel like, man, there's never nothing in it for me. I don't benefit from being kind, because the more kind I am, the more of an asshole people are to me. And they feel like it defeats the purpose of being kind if it only amplifies how mean other people are to me. So because they see no benefit in being kind, that's why they go the other way and they choose to be mean. You see what I mean? So to this man who ran fucking 205 miles in 39 hours, you know, he accomplished other stuff too. Like, can you imagine doing 4,000 pull-ups? And I think he did it in 24 hours. Some like a little over 4,000 pull-ups. I can't even imagine 1,000 pull-ups. This dude did 4,000 pull-ups to the point that he had calluses in his hand and his hands was being torn apart. Yo, he had pictures of his hand. It looked like an animal bit parts of his hand off because from him gripping that bar and doing pull-ups so much, it started deteriorating his flesh, but he kept going because he believed more was possible. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that you got to stretch yourself beyond belief like that to the point that your body like taps out. But what I'm saying is all of you are capable of more. Everybody is, you know, me, I'm capable of more. You know what I mean? But to the people that don't know they're capable of more, they won't try to do 205 miles in 39 hours. They won't try to run 100 miles in 24 hours because they think that anyone who could do 17 miles is out of their mind. You know what I mean? 17 miles in a day, running 17 miles per hour, that's not likely. And meanwhile, you have ultra runners out here doing 100 miles in 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? You have no idea what the hell is possible. You know what I mean? And this is why people are so quick to put a cap on their potential and use the word realistic to talk themselves out of what's actually possible. I fucking, if there's one word that I hate, there's only one word, you know, realistic. I hate the word realistic more than the elderly hate curse words, you know, like more than Christians hate Satan. You know what I mean? I hate the word realistic. It's such a limiting word. It's such a limiting word, man. And you'll never know what you're capable of using that word because someone's going to come up to you and say, bro, I found a way to make $100 an hour. And maybe they actually practicing what they preach. Maybe they make $200 an hour. You know what I mean? But because you believe that anything over $50 an hour is a scam, you'll never get to see $100 an hour because it's not fucking realistic. I hate that word. This is why I hate that word. You know what I mean? Yo, people are making $1,000 an hour. You know, there's people in this world doing it. The problem is we compare ourselves to other people and we say that can never be me. And comparison is the thief of joy. Every time, you know what I'm saying? When you look at somebody else's successful marriage and then you look at your failing marriage and you compare your unhappiness to someone else's happiness and you say, why can't I have the things that they have? It's because you keep embracing your mediocrity. You keep choosing to think the way that you do. And that's why you have the way that you have. You have the life in the way that you have it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like the last 5 years of your life, you take a good look at the last 5 years of your life because the next 5 will be the same if you don't change. If you don't change your mindset, if you don't demand more out of life, if you don't say yes to more opportunity and say yes to becoming more, then you're going to, that's it. Then, you know, you're going to plateau and you're going to stay where you're at. And you're going to think that, well, at least I'm doing better than some random kid in Cambodia who's starving to death. Then you're going to compare yourself to people that are doing way worse than you and you're going to find gratitude in that, but use it as a place to have complacency and stay stationary in your mediocrity. So what that you're doing better than some starving kid in Africa? What does that have to do with you? Yes, it's nice to know that you're not starving and you have 2 meals a day, but what is your potential? You know what I mean? Because if you settle for $50,000 a year, what if you die just to find out you were capable of $1 million per year? And it's deeper than the money, you know, like the stuff that you could have did with that money. You know what I mean? Like the charities that you could have donated to, the families that you could have helped with the money. The most selfish thing a person could do is have the potential to be a millionaire and choose not to become one. Because if you don't become a millionaire and you're fucking capable of being one, other people suffer because you didn't get there. This mental fortitude shit that I constantly talk about on every podcast, like if I didn't start caring about this stuff, other people suffer, right? Because I don't become who I could be. You know what I mean? My potential. I'm obsessed with my potential. It's the only thing I obsess over. You know what I used to obsess over? How people don't love me, how people don't like me, how people should be there for me, you know? And life was miserable when I obsessed over how things should be going my way. Now I care about one thing, fulfilling my purpose before I die. That's it. That's the only thing that fucking matters. This is why if I send you a text message and you don't return it in 4 hours, I don't give a fuck. I'm not alive for you to return my text messages at the time that I think you should be returning them. This is why if we're friends for 15 years, all of a sudden you turn your back on me and you backstab me, cool. I'm okay with that because I'm not alive for you to be loyal towards me and be there for me all the time. My life transcends beyond my expectations of what I think should be. And this world doesn't give a fuck about my expectations. You know what I mean? But I owe it to myself to become who I could be and embrace my full potential because other people are going to benefit, you know what I'm saying, from that. You know what I mean? And I could only help people by becoming the best version of myself, you know? There's so many people that are trying to help everybody else, right? But they're passing out while they're doing it because they're mentally unstable themselves, trying to go help somebody else. Like I saw a video where it was like When you're on an airplane and the oxygen mask deploys, they say secure your mask first before you secure the mask of a child, before you secure the mask of a toddler, all the kids around you, all the other people that, you know what I mean? Because if you pass out, you're of no use to other people. You know what I'm saying? This is why you secure your oxygen mask first, so that while it's secure, you could help put on the oxygen mask of other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if you try to secure everybody else's mask first, you're going to pass out. You know what I'm saying? And then you're going to be of no use to other people passed out on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Then the people that you could have been helping, they won't be helped because you're unconscious and you're incapable of helping them. And this is what happens when you try to help everybody else when your life is not stable, when your mentality is not, you know what I'm saying? Like, so yo, like, I'm obsessed with mental fortitude because I know what it's like to be depressed. I know what it's like to cry 3 hours a day because some fucking girl doesn't love you. I don't care about that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's what the difference between me now and 4 years ago. You know what I used to say in my mind? She should love me. She should be there. She should appreciate me. She should be there for me. She should be compassionate. I do this for her. How come she's not doing that for me? I do this for her. How come she's not appreciative? How come she's not receptive? Because she doesn't fucking have to be. Because she doesn't have to appreciate me. She doesn't have to love me. She doesn't have to, like, text me back. You know what I'm saying? It's all these fucking things that I complained about. It's optional. It's optional if a person loves you. It's not mandatory. And you're miserable because you think it's mandatory that other people love you. Because you think it's mandatory, every time a person doesn't do what you think they should, now you're miserable because your expectations are being violated by other people. You're violating yourself because you created your expectations. The people that you're mad at, they didn't create your expectation. You created it. You have everything to do with your disappointment. When you remove expectation, you remove disappointment, because every disappointment is directly linked to an expectation. And you can't even be disappointed if you didn't have expectations. We take these expectations into the video games that we play. We think that, you know what I'm saying? Like, when we play video games, other people should play it a certain way. And when they don't, we're mad. And we think, and then we get diagnosed for having fucking anger. You don't have an anger issue. You have an expectation issue. And you think that when you get on a video game, that people should, instead of just being happy that you have video games, right? Or being excited to play the game, whether you win or lose, right? It's about the match going the way that you think that it should. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever play whether it be a video game or a sport, and you can't play with this one person because every time you don't play the game the way they think you should, they yell at you, and then them yelling at you makes you not even want to play the game anymore. And then they're always frustrated, and nobody wants to play ball with this one person. Nobody wants to play chess. Nobody wants to play board games with them, because they're a mental basket case and an emotional liability to everybody around them, right? And no one wants to be around someone who's going to yell at them just because they don't understand the game as quickly as they go. Oh, how come you don't understand the game? I got it in like 2 minutes. Okay, genius. You think because you got something in 2 minutes, other people are going to? Like, other people don't have the mental capacity that you do. Like, maybe other people are slower than you. Like, what doesn't mean that they're a waste of life and God should have never created these people? Like, you know, because people who start thinking like that, man, these type of people shouldn't exist. You know what I'm saying? When you complain about people, you're complaining about God, because God created every person you're complaining about. You know what I'm saying? Not so they could be the foul individuals that they became. They chose to become foul and messed up. They don't know what their potential is because they don't care to seek that out. They care to complain and be bitter and let the world mold them into a complaining, whining, fucking miserable person. You know what I mean? And then they become somebody that you whine and mope about and complain about. And all this time that all of you are wasting complaining about people that probably won't, they might change, but maybe they won't. You know what I'm saying? There's a percentage of people that are messed up. They're going to die messed up people. They're going to die mediocre. They're going to die being who they prefer to be for whatever reason. And the more time you're trying to spend, don't spend time trying to understand these people. These people are under no obligation to make sense to you. If you think that everyone's obligated to be sensible, then every nonsensible person you meet is going to piss you off. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I'm pretty much going to close this podcast pretty soon. The way to avoid being annoying, right? To avoid being annoyed by other people is loving the people you complain about. I know that shit sounds crazy because there's a lot of unreasonable people that you be like, yo, I'll be damned if I love that person. Man, love that person? Like, that person hates me. Why should I love them? Or they don't do nothing for me. Why should I do anything for them? Like, you know, why should I love someone that's always mean to me, that's always cursing at me, that's always... Because if you don't, it's going to send you off in a spiral of complaining and being a victim, and fucking nothing gets accomplished, and you're going to waste your whole life complaining about people. The only way to overcome people is loving them, because if you don't love them, they're They're gonna irritate you. You know what I'm saying? And isn't it crazy that we spend hours a day talking about people that we don't even care about these people? If they died tonight, we wouldn't care. Like we wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? You probably wouldn't even care. So why do you spend hours of your life complaining about people that you don't care about? You know what I'm saying? Instead of focusing on the one thing that you do care about, such as becoming a professional dancer like you've always wanted, a painter, you know what I'm saying? Traveling the world, drawing, like, art, like, being a speaker. I don't know what the fuck you want to do. There's something you want to do that your time is getting wasted on dwelling and complaining. And the people that you wish changed their behavior don't give a damn that you wish they changed their behavior. The woman that I wish loved me doesn't give a damn that I wish that. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't care that it hurt my feelings that she don't text me back. She doesn't care that, you know what I'm saying, that it hurts my feelings that she's never there, that I used to speak to her only twice a year, 3 times a year. And I used to ask her, man, can we talk once a month? And she used to make it seem like that was too much to ask for. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my mind, I was like, yo, it's just once a month. That's not a big deal. In her mind, she could only tolerate me twice a year, 3 times a year. In her mind, I was asking for too much. You know what I mean? Like, and she has a right to have whatever perception of life she wants to have. She has the right to not appreciate me, not love me, not be there for me. You know what I'm saying? I give her full permission to be that way. Why? Because I'm not alive for her to behave the way that I think that she should. Because if that's what I'm alive for, I'm positioned for great levels of depression. And then a fucking doctor thinking that he knows anything, diagnosing me and giving me a pill to try to subside whatever mental illness he's trying to say that I have. But the biggest mental illness is fucking entitlement. You're entitled to receiving things, to things being a certain way. That's why you're upset, because things have to go your way. That is a fucking mental illness, entitlement and expectation. If you could get rid of that, you don't have to visit a fucking doctor. I promise you. Every negative emotion that you don't like feeling, you know what I'm saying? Social anxiety, fucking, anger, like depression, all this shit comes from expectation. Like, you know what I mean? You know why it pisses you off when people talk about you behind your back? Because you feel like they don't have the right to be doing that. That's why every time you hear that someone said something about you behind your back, it's like, oh, say it to my face. You know what I'm saying? We turn into, isn't it crazy? The shit we care about in 3rd grade is the shit we care about when we're 57. Fuck, man. Like, you would think that you would grow some to the point where you don't care what people, there's people that they talk shit about God all day, all day. They spend their life criticizing and moping and griping and complaining and about God. You think God is in heaven bothered by that? Like, yo, I give these people value. I wake them up in the morning and they don't even before they pray to me, they check their Twitter feed before they consider me. They do this. Like, like God is not in heaven bothered by these people. You know what I mean? Like, because it's not about, it's deeper than him getting exactly what he wants, because he respects his creation so much so to the point that you have free will, that, you know what I'm saying, that you could embrace him or you could go the other direction. You know what I mean? Like, that's amazing love when someone says, hey, here's what I want you to do, and here's what here's what I would like. Here's my preference. But I love you so much that if you go the other way, you know what I mean? I still love you. You know what I mean? Like the sun shines on the unrighteous and the righteous. The rain comes out for the righteous and the unrighteous people. A lot of you, if you were God, the sun would only come out for people that you like. The sun would only come up for people that you think are not a waste of space or a waste of life. You know what I mean? And then it'd be a bunch of shadows walking around that they just don't deserve sunlight because they're not behaving in the way that you think that they should. So therefore they don't deserve a lot of stuff. Fucking oxygen, water, food, shelter. You know what I'm saying? Isn't it amazing that all these things are available to everybody? You know what I'm saying? Whether God is impressed with your personality type or not, and whether he's like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that he's excited for you to be a messed up person, like, but grace is still available to you. You know what I mean? You changing your life, that's still an option. You know what I mean? He just understands that you just don't know any better at the moment, and you don't believe any better. And you think this is who you were created to be. You know how many sensitive ass people think they were created to be that? They were created to be soft, and like every comment makes them cry, and you know what I mean? Like everything makes them angry and upset all the time. They think that they were created to be that type of person. And it's, why they do that? Because it's easier to say stupid shit like that. It's easier than to say, man, to hell with all this feeling emotions that I'd rather not feel. How can I stop feeling anger? How can I get rid of depression? How can I, you know what I'm saying? Like, I see other happy ass people. I see people that don't look qualified to be happy because, you know what I'm saying? They don't have a lot of money. They don't have this. They don't have that. But yet they're happy as shit. They seem like they should be complaining and moping and crying, and they're not. They seem, man, whatever that person has, I need to talk to that person and ask them what the hell makes them so happy to be alive, because I'm not happy to be alive. And maybe if I have one conversation with them, they could say something that could change my life forever. If only I'm not biased in my own opinion about how I think their change is impossible. You know what I mean? People are so wise in their own opinion. You shouldn't boast in your own opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, because every time you speak, you're only repeating what you know. But every time you listen, there's a chance you might actually fucking learn something new. If only you open your ears more than you open your mouth. You know what I mean? There's people that have so much wisdom, so much things that they could say to you that could change your life drastically. But the thing is, a lot of people are going to spend 25 years denying stuff or saying, yeah, well, that's not for me. Happiness is not for me. Like, you know, like maybe life is supposed to be this way for me. And then they embrace that instead of what could be. And then they never become the person they could have been because they undersold themselves. You know what I'm saying? They sold themselves a bag of shit belief system that it doesn't serve them to embrace it, but they embrace it anyways because it's all they fucking know. They don't know any different than that. And there's a quote that says, a familiar hell is more appealing than an unfamiliar heaven. And I've always wondered, like, what the hell? Like, why would people choose a familiar hell? If it's hell, like, what is there to embrace about hell? People embrace routine. They embrace what they know. That's why when someone smokes for fucking 37 years, they keep telling themselves it's hard to quit, because in their mind, they believe it's hard to quit something that you've been doing for 37 years. So now they're mentally conditioning themselves to make it that much more harder to quit smoking cigarettes, because they keep telling themselves, man, I need the cigarette. Every time they smoke their last cigarette and the box that they just bought, they're like, yo, this is the last one. I'm quitting after this one. And then every last cigarette becomes the last one. And then 25,000 cigarettes later, it's still the last one. And then, you know, and then when other people ask you, hey, so did you, have you quit smoking yet? I know you really want to. And you're like, yo, get off my back, dude. I'm trying. Like, God's working on me. God's working on me. And then 27 years later, God's still working on you and you're still smoking because you keep feeding your mind with the bullshit that it's hard. It's not about how hard some shit is. It's, do you want it? Do you want to stop smoking cigarettes? Because if you really want some shit, you'll find out that it was never about how difficult it is, but it was always about how badly did you want it. Because when you don't want some shit, you let it being difficult be the excuse that prevents you from moving forward, because you're like, like, that's too difficult for me. Like, maybe someone else could do that shit, but I can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like, running 205 miles in under 39 hours, that shit sounds hard. But to the man that wanted to do that, it wasn't about hard. He said, I want to push myself. I want to see what my limitations are, because I won't know if I never push myself. And that's why people stay in their comfort zones for so long. They don't want to push themselves, and they don't know that greatness is waiting for them to embrace them. And it's directly outside of their comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? Like, me wanting to be a motivational speaker, being around a lot of people makes me feel awkward. I have to get over that shit. You know what I'm saying? And this is a test to myself. How badly do I want it? Do I want it badly enough to get over social anxiety? Or is social anxiety going to be the reason that I don't accomplish what the fuck I want to accomplish? I have two options. Dwell and complain about how I have these things that are wrong with me that I need to fix, or overcome that shit and fucking find out what my true potential is. You know what I'm saying? And I choose the second one, man. Find out what my potential is. Because I don't want to be 95 reflecting on how many keynote speeches I could have gave, but yet I never thought that I would get over my social anxiety. And then I let social anxiety become the reason that I don't become anything. But then at 95, I probably have 5 years left before I die, or I might die any minute. Shit, when you're 95, your time is coming soon, you know? And then I have to live with the regret of wondering, damn, what could have been if only I continue moving forward, if only I believed better. You know, if only, you know what I'm saying? If only I believed in myself. I let my negative neighbors talk me out of my greatness. I let my sinister, you know what I'm saying? Like, you think that other people shouldn't discourage you. You know what I'm saying? I think they should try to discourage you, because it's going to be a test to yourself, and you're going to find out how badly do you want it. Do you want it so bad that when your own mother and father tell you that your dream is bullshit, that you say, fuck that, I'm doing it anyways? Do you want it that bad? Or do you need the emotional support system of everyone in your fucking family? And if people support you, then you're trottling along towards chasing your dream. But if no one's supporting you, you question whether or not you want to be doing the shit anymore, which means you're not really that committed to it. I think people need to fucking discourage the shit out of you to the point where you come to the conclusion and you say, yo, look, either I'm going to do this, or I'm going to let other people tell me that I'm incapable of doing it and listening to them. And I'd much rather you try and fail and try and keep failing and never make it than to listen to everybody else and never try. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, it's so much better to create something and then let other people criticize your creation than to fucking create nothing and criticize everybody else. That's what a lot of people do. They create nothing and criticize everybody else instead of trying to create something that other people criticize. You know what I'm saying? Other people are going to be critics. You're going to put out a YouTube video. People are going to tell you it's trash. You're going to put out a song. People are going to tell you it's whack. You shouldn't be songwriting. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be, yo, fucking Minecraft. I hate Minecraft, yo. I hate that game. That looks like $100,000 game. $50,000 game, probably. I would have never guessed it was $1 billion game, yo. If that dude listened to people that said your game is shit, he would have never pushed Minecraft into the market, and he would have never been a fucking, a billionaire. I mean, I don't know what his net worth is, but I know he he sold 146 million copies. It's the number 2 best selling game in the world. A game that to me personally looks like a $50,000 game, looks like a $100,000 game. And he made 142 million sales, and a game costs like, I don't know, somewhere between 15 and $20. So yeah, man, you calculate $20, or even if it's $10, fuck, calculate $10 times 146 million. That's crazy. Not to mention the hats that he sold, the Minecraft hats and fucking sneakers and pants and jeans and all that merchandise shit. Like, you know what I mean? So, but the thing about life, yo, there's somebody with a Minecraft idea right now that the perceived value of it is only 50 to 100,000. Some people are going to perceive it even lower. Like, yo, this looks like a $10,000 game, dude. I don't think you're going to succeed. I don't think you should do it. And he's going to fucking listen to other people, and he's not going to produce a game that he could have sold 146 million copies of. Don't fucking listen to other people. Don't know what your potential is. They don't even know what their own potential is. You think they're qualified to tell you what you're not capable of? You know what I'm saying? And make sure you look at the life. Look at the life of the people that are telling you these things. If they don't have things that you admire about them, whether it be their character, their mindset, their bank account balance, then don't qualify these people as being qualified people to fucking tell you what you should be doing. They don't even know what they should be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to listen to somebody who has what you have, whether that be mental fortitude. Like, maybe you're mentally weak right now and you admire someone else because they're strong. They seem to be so damn strong, and you want to take advice from that person because you want mental fortitude, mental strength. That person is qualified to talk to you about those things. Why? Because you admire them and they have something that you lack at the moment. And there are only people qualified. You think someone who's falling apart more than you are is qualified to tell you how to not fall apart when they're falling apart themselves? Like, you know what I'm saying? This shit makes no sense. Like, and then we listen to these people and we ask people like that, what's their opinion? You know what I mean? Instead of looking towards the people that you want to be like and studying their life because they have things that you want. You know what I'm saying? So it's the reason people follow Jesus, man, because Jesus has things that people want. It's, I think it's deeper than salvation, going to heaven when you die. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a Christian to go to heaven. I want what he had in terms of his mindset. That's the only reason he overcame, because he had mental fortitude. It's the only reason that in prayer he saw that Judas was going to betray him, but yet he still greeted him as a friend. He didn't have no problems. You know what I mean? And when he rose from the dead, he said, tell my brothers that, that it's done, something along those lines. One thing he didn't do. He didn't raise from the dead having issues with man. Yo, tell those backstabbing that I have to have a word with them because I don't like the way they treated me. He didn't raise from the dead saying that because he didn't come to earth to be treated a certain way. He came here to fulfill a purpose, and that's it. And that was his only focus, was that purpose that he had to fulfill, not the way people treated him, not how people should respond to a fucking text message sooner, none of that bullshit that people dwell on and makes them miserable, and they think life is hell. And then they think for life to be better, circumstances have to be better. No, your mindset has to be better. When your mind gets better, life gets better. Because you might have good circumstances for 10 years, and it might seem like life was good for 10 years, but there's an underlying hell that exists within your own mindset that if certain things would have happened, it would have triggered, a roller coaster ride of emotions. Now, but the thing is, life has secured you. Life has kept you safe. You didn't have to deal with adversity. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people this is why a lot of people that grow up rich, they grow up soft. A lot of them, like, you know what I mean? They don't have mental fortitude because shit was always easy. if everything was handed to them, they didn't have to work for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't mean like work like getting a job work, but like, like respect or like kindness. Like, you have to earn people's respect. You have to earn like, like admiration. We want admiration without being an admirable person. You know what I'm saying? Without pouring value into other people's life. Without people want to be famous, but when you look at the Instagram section, they're not replying to every single comment. But yet they just want the admiration without showing their fans that they give a damn about them. You know what I'm saying? And communicating back. You know what I'm saying? They just want 1 million followers, but they don't want to engage with any of them. You know? Having 1 million followers and not engaging with any of them is no different than me inviting you to dinner. And as soon as we, you know what I'm saying? As soon as we do the prayer and we start eating, I fucking leave the table and I leave you and the guests communicating amongst yourself. But I completely leave the table. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yo, if we're going to have dinner, like, I'm going to be a part of that conversation. There's so many famous people that if only they would engage with their audience more and they gave more to their audience, more of their time, more of their replying to comments, that means so much to a fan. You know what I mean? To the point that fan is now sold on the brand and they're going to keep, you know what I'm saying? They're going to keep supporting you and spreading your message. You know how good it feels to a person when there's someone famous, on Twitter and you say a tweet to them and they actually fucking take the time to respond back to you. Man, it's so much so to the point where if they put out 5-6 different books, you might just purchase all of them because you love them so much for responding to your tweet. You know what I'm saying? Like little things like that, like, it gets magnified in people's head when, you know what I'm saying? Like Oprah, when she used to do her thing, like, when she when she smiled at people, when she winked at people, like when she shook someone's hand, like people are having that conversation 15 years later. Yo, I shook hands with Oprah and this is what she said to me and she did this. Like, you know what I mean? Like that shit weighs on somebody's conscience to the point that they're so sold into your brand that now that your goal is to make a lot of money off of people, you'll make that much more money fucking replying to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because people look up to you and they know that you'll talk to them. That means so much to a fan. You know what I'm saying? Gary Vaynerchuk spent from 2007 to 2011, had 1 million followers on Twitter. Anybody who said anything to him, he spent 18 hours a day replying to all of them. You might wonder why, like, that's a waste of time. Why reply to people 18 hours a day for 4 years straight? Here's why. Because when he released his sneaker, when he did a sneaker collaboration with K-Swiss, his sneaker line was bigger than Kanye West's sneaker line for the release of the Yeezys. And Kanye West has fucking 50 million followers. You would think a man that with 50 million followers would sell more sneakers than a man with somewhere between 3 to 4 to 5 million followers. You know what I mean? Just because you have 50 million people following you doesn't mean that, that you have that much depth. Because you might have 50 million followers and only have 100,000 that legitimately give a damn about you. Meanwhile, you might have 5 million followers and you might have, out of 5 million followers, you might have 450,000 people that they'll financially support everything you put out, your books, your keynote speeches, they'll attend those. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, like the man that has 5 million followers and 450,000 people give a damn about him for real, is going to be worth more than the man that has 55 million followers and only has 75,000 people that really give a damn. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man. Anyways, so I'm going to end it on that note. I don't really have much more to say about this topic. But, yeah, besides, give me a second. Just to love the people, man. Love the people that annoy you. And try to see them the way that God does. Because when you see them in the same light, they won't bother you anymore. Because then you'll only see what they could be. And you'll see that they're not embracing their potential. And instead of getting bothered by them, you'll try to be there for them, or you try to pray for them, or you try to, like, you know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to be bothered and then impulsively try to correct their behavior as if you're their mommy and daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, because your words mean so much more to a person that really believes that it's coming from a place of love when you actually have genuine concern for their soul. You know what I'm saying? And what happens in the afterlife and in this life as well. You know what I'm saying? Like when you really care, your words will carry directly into their heart because they believe, the person you're talking to believes it's coming from a genuine place. Instead of someone posting something that you don't agree with on Facebook, you telling them that they're an asshole and then deleting and blocking them. Like, how does that change their life? And it doesn't change yours either. Because if you do that to people, you know, you're messing up your own day. Because now you're going to dwell and complain about how people post politically incorrect things that they shouldn't be posting, as if it's any of your fucking business. You think it's your business just because you saw it on your timeline. You know what I'm saying? Nothing I see on my timeline is that shit is not my business. Unless you hit me up and you're like, yo, Rob, I posted something the other day. I really want to know what's your opinion about it. And you want to have a conversation with me, sure, we can have that conversation. But it's not my business to like tell you what you shouldn't be posting on your fucking social media. You know what I'm saying? My business is fulfilling my purpose before I die. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Not people loving me, supporting me, none of that shit, because none of that matters. You know, it only matters if I say that it does. And if I say that it doesn't matter. Just like that girl who I said, yo, I have positive content, that videos that I know you're feeling suicidal and depressed, but if you actually listen with an open heart, you'll and with an open mind, you'll learn something. Maybe you'll, you know what I'm saying? You'll learn how to not be so miserable. You know what she said? There's nothing you could show me that's going to help me, because nothing could help me. You know what I'm saying? She's basically saying those words have no power because I don't give those words permission to have power. Wow, how powerful is that? You could use the same mentality on the people that troll you online and the people that say, fuck you, go hang yourself, you're a piece of shit, you're stupid, you shouldn't have that opinion, man, you should get locked up, or you should die for saying this, or you don't deserve life for saying that. Imagine if you had a switch in your brain that says, your words mean nothing because I believe that it means nothing. And then it means nothing to you because you believe that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people that are happy and the people that are sad, they focus on two different things. The people that are constantly sad, they're always focusing on things that they believe shouldn't have happened. And the people that are always happy, while things are happening that maybe, you know, maybe they're not super excited about things not going their way, but they find things to focus on. The dwelling and complaining only stops when the gratitude begins. When gratitude begins, complaining stops, because gratitude doesn't know how to complain. And yeah, so I'll leave you with that, man. Take care and see you on the next one.